Hello friends and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to talk about essentially how to become an early riser, how to wake up early and feel awesome and excited. Because the reason I'm making this video is, for me, getting into the habit of rising early in the morning has been such a game changer and really increased the quality of my life a lot. I don't know, somehow my life feels so different now that I get up early. And by early, you know, in my case, it's somewhere between 6 and 7 o'clock. A lot of times I also wake up before 6. It really depends, but roughly around there, 6:30-ish. Yeah, it just really changed the feeling of my days and how I live them and how everything, basically. And so I want to share a little bit of how this happened, because I have not been an early riser, an early bird for all of my life. It only just happened within the last 2 years, 2.5 years or so. The trigger for that was actually moving to Bali back then, early 2015. Before that, I mean, for most of my life, I loved sleeping in. And one reason why I was a big fan of running my own show in terms of my business and being an entrepreneur and doing my own thing and not having a boss was that I could get up in the morning whenever I wanted to without an alarm clock. That was a big thing. And I held that up high like the Bible. I hated getting up early. I would always book flights later in the day and all this stuff. So for me, sleep has always been very important in the sense that you don't mess with it. I just want to sleep my, 8, 9, sometimes even 10 hours, back then. And no, I was not 18, now I'm in my 30s. And so up until my early 30s, basically, I loved sleeping in until, 9, 10, 11, whenever I felt like getting out of bed. And, that had its time and place in my life. And now things have completely changed. And I love it, and I wouldn't want to give it up for anything. And I want to share just, I guess the magic of becoming an early riser and just, I don't know, I guess inspire you to try it out, maybe. I mean, I do want to say that it's not for everybody. If you love sleeping in and that's just how your body works best, or your creativity, or generally your life, go for it. I mean, like I said, that's what I believe for most of my life. I was like, no, totally not made to get up early. But things change, so never say never. Maybe you still want to try it out. But I do get that some people are just not made to live that way, and it's totally cool. There's no judgment in anything. If you want to sleep until, midday because your productive time is at night, or that's when you're creative and do your most amazing work, go for it. If you just stay up watching Netflix and scrolling through your Facebook feed until 3 in the morning, I don't know if that's considered productive or creative. So maybe you want to reconsider that, how you spend your time. And I think that's what it's all about. I'm very mindful, very conscious of how I want to spend the hours in my day. And once I discovered that actually the morning has some of the best hours of the day, I was like, whoa, I think I need to change this. Or not even I need to, it really happened organically. So I moved to Bali for the first time, like properly, where I started to spend several months in a row here, and this has been sort of, I guess, my life since then, in and out here in Bali. And for some reason, well, not for some reason, I'll tell you the reasons. I was living in Ubud first, in the beginning for 4 months, and I had come from a life of, a lot of drinking and smoking, and I'd already been quite conscious, and I'd just done a month-long yoga meditation retreat. So I was already, I guess, in the habit of getting up very early, around 6-ish, to meditate and do yoga. But before that, I had just quit smoking 2014, still going out a lot, drinking a lot, meaning I had a lot of late nights. And then I moved to Bali, came to Ubud, and Ubud doesn't really have a nightlife. There's not that much, going on at night generally. And so also the rhythm here in Bali in general with the people, and this is the case for many tropical countries, where it's quite warm during the day, especially in the afternoon, is that the local people get up early and they go to sleep early, and they live more in tune with nature. And so as I kind of got into routines of doing things, somehow a little bit automatically, it happened that I started to go to bed a little bit earlier every night, and I started to get up earlier every day. And it's, to the point where, why should I stay up late when I can just go to bed and then just use my hours more wisely? And so that kind of for me happened organically. But when I left Bali and then went to, maybe back to Europe or to the States or whatever, where there's a different pace of life, I would kind of flow back into getting up later, going to bed later. Also, you have a lot more artificial light. Back in Europe and stuff, people live more indoors. I guess when we're there, we're a little bit more controlled by artificial lighting. And so I totally personally understand that I had a bit of a, or still do, have a bit of a advantage with that, living in a tropical country where the sun basically all year round rises around 6 and sets around 6, 12-hour daylight, 12-hour nighttime. And however though, you look at a lot of successful people out there, entrepreneurs and creative people and spiritual people, and it doesn't matter where they live, a lot of these people, they made it their habit to get up very early. And some people, there's the 5 a.m. club hashtag on Twitter and Instagram, check it out. But for me, it doesn't have to be 5, but like I said, around 6:30ish is a good time for me. But also, the more I embraced meditation and yoga over the years, you realize it's something you want to do early in the morning. I want to meditate early in the morning when it's quiet, it's so beautiful. I love exercising in the morning and just, I get out of bed, I do my morning routine, like meditating, I drink my lemon tea, do some reading, or I go to yoga, or I go running, or I go swimming, or whatever. And just that in itself is a beautiful routine for me to get that done early in the day. It's almost like once I meditated and exercised and moved my body and got into the day, in this flow, I already feel like I conquered the day. It makes me feel awesome. And yeah, I love doing that in the morning to just kind of, it's that chunk of time, the first few hours, where I don't even go near my laptop. For me, it's really reserved for self-care stuff, for taking time with myself. And doing that really prepares me for the rest of the day, where I'm gonna be creative and do stuff and make videos and just take care of my business and come up with new ideas. And so it's all really orchestrated in the way that I get the most out of my days and that I can feel most alive. And getting up early really helps me to do that and feel that way. I also love sunrise. I do love sunset, don't get me wrong, but sunrise, like the time around sunrise is a really magical time, no matter where you are on this planet. I personally just really enjoy it here in Bali. Just living in tune with nature in that way, I really appreciate now, but it has taken me a very long time, but I finally do. And just greeting the day in this way, and just being, it makes me live more consciously by getting up early with the sun and, the animals awake and the locals are up. And I feel like it's this rhythm that I just really enjoy. And then I go to sleep at, anywhere around 9, 10 o'clock, 10:20 or something, maybe the latest. I know I need around 7 or 8 hours of sleep. So depending on when I go to bed, that's, 7 or 8 hours later, that's when I wake up. So I don't really need an alarm clock, but I do set it around 6:30 just in case, because you never know. I give my body what it needs, but sometimes it needs more. And yeah, I just feel really good doing this. And so over the years now, because I don't just spend my time in Bali, I do spend a big amount of time of my life in my year here in Bali, but I also, you know, became more conscious of living that way and rising early wherever I am around the world, no matter what country that is or how much daylight there is or what season it is. And so, you know, it's not about not making excuses, it's just about keeping a routine, because it kind of, for me, it's really important to have routines, because so many other areas of my life are not very consistent in that way, because I live in different places and I run my own business, and you know, it's important for me to have daily rituals and kind of a way to do things in a similar way every day. And getting up early is one part that makes me feel grounded and safe, and just, yeah, really fosters my productivity, my creativity, and yeah, overall it's just pretty awesome. So here's a few tips on how you can try and experiment with waking up early and maybe, who knows, become an early bird going forward. So like I said, never say never. One thing that I believe really helps is, instead of doing it in a radical way, you know, let's say you set your alarm clock now an hour or two earlier than you would normally do, I wouldn't recommend doing that, because it's just a shock to your body, and your body's going to be like, what are you doing? I don't want to get up an hour early every day now, or 2 hours earlier, or 3 hours even. Whoa, you're crazy. So you're going to feel horrible in the morning. So you totally want to limit feeling horrible in the morning. That's just generally what I think. You want to be more gentle. And the way to be more gentle is to start by setting your alarm maybe 15 minutes earlier, maybe maximum of 30 minutes earlier, you know? And then you do that for 4, 5, 6 days and see how you go and adjust to that. So let's say instead of 8 o'clock, you set it at 7:30 or 7:40, and see how you go. And then after that, you do that again, 15 minutes earlier, 30 minutes earlier. And eventually, in a matter of maybe a month or so, you then are down to, you know, 6:30 or 6 o'clock, wherever, or maybe, you know, you want to even go to, you know, super crazy times like 5 a.m. So definitely try that. Do it in increments, do it slowly, give yourself some time, be gentle, and I'm sure the success rate is much higher than if you try to do it in a radical way. All right, cool. Now, I mentioned this earlier too. My entire day structure sort of changed, and with this, the time that I go to bed. So if you want to get up earlier, it means you also need to go to sleep earlier, you know? Because I'm sure your body appreciates the same amount of sleep every night. So if you want to get up earlier, then, you know, make it a habit to go to bed earlier. And one big thing that I totally don't do in bed, and I really recommend to not do that as well, is no laptop, because we all know how it kind of sucks you in, and then suddenly it's midnight again or even later. So I have a no laptop rule in my bed, at least for most days, or, you know, when I'm on my period in bed in pain, of course, you know, I might watch a bit of Netflix, but generally I don't watch stuff in my bed. I generally don't really watch stuff much, except for a few YouTube videos now and again. But yeah, no laptop. I read in bed, and reading in itself makes me really tired, or I don't know, do things that are a bit more easy and chill you out, and have a glass of tea maybe, or just generally maybe meditate, or maybe massage yourself, you know, and then just kind of ease into sleeping, rather than just being on your phone, laptop. No. Yeah, so same goes also for your phone. I try to really minimize the amount of time that I use my phone in bed, and just scrolling, and suddenly, wow, I just scrolled for 30 minutes. Crazy. Now, another practical thing, put your alarm clock or your phone or whatever across the room. Put it somewhere else. Make it so that you have to get out of bed to turn it off, okay? That's a big one. Because once you start snoozing and press that snooze button, you're out. The snooze button, I believe, is the worst invention ever. Now here's a really big one, and I believe that's one reason why it's become so much easier for me to get out of bed, and that is, if you have a big why, if you have something that excites you in the morning, to get out of bed, it makes it so much easier. I personally schedule things in the morning, like I want to go to yoga class, I'm going to go swimming. I already decide that before I go to sleep, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to exercise. Or generally I'm just excited about maybe a project that I'm doing, or generally business, or something's happening the next day. Like, you know, the more you set your life up to be awesome and exciting and fulfilling, the easier it is to get out of bed. And so essentially, and that is my message with everything I do, is, you know, try and find a way to live a fulfilling life. Try to grow, try to contribute in whichever way possible, because then you wake up in the morning and you're like, yes, awesome, I'm so happy to be here and be able to do that and be passionate about what I do and the life that I live, rather than waking up and be like, oh shit, another day, I have to do this, oh that's horrible, I don't want to do this. So yeah, you might want to, if you're not there yet, just watch all my videos. 2 things that I believe definitely support the feeling of awesomeness in the morning is a healthy diet. Really makes a difference on your sleep for sure, especially in how you feel in the morning. And ever since I turned to a clean, plant-based vegan diet, I feel so much better when I wake up in the morning than I used to, eating crap and processed food and lots of sugars and stuff like that. So big one is, you know, clean plant-based diet and no booze, you know. I mean, yeah, we all kind of know how that feels when you had a bit too much, but for me now these days, being so in touch and connected to my body, I feel 1 glass of wine. I feel 1 bottle of beer. And so I do have a glass or 2 now and again, but I really try to be very mindful with how I consume alcohol, because I know that I can feel it in the morning, and just 1 glass can make it a lot harder to get out of bed or not feel as amazing as I'd like to feel. And lastly, don't rationalize. Don't let your mind take over when you wake up and be like, oh, this is crazy, what are you doing? Sleeping is so much better, blah, blah, and then goes on and on and on. Don't rationalize the decision, wanting to give this a shot or wanting to become an early riser. Make it a must. I think what really helps is, like I said earlier, maybe you look at the yoga schedule the day before, whatever it is, and you make even a yoga date or running date or swimming date with a friend of yours at a certain time, and that way it's a must. You're gonna have to get out of bed because you want to, and because, you know, the best way to then start the day, in my belief, is to meditate and exercise. And then you start today with so much beautiful energy, and then in itself it's just gonna change your days completely. You know, when you start your days on an energy level up here rather than down there. So yes, that's it. That's what I've got for you. I really hope you got something out of this video. I inspired you a little bit to give it a shot. Or maybe you are already an early riser. Then, you know, I'd love to hear your experience in the comments. And if you have any questions about it, of course, then put them in there too. I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of, yeah, but Connie, yeah, but, yeah, excuse me. I know, it's gonna happen. It's fine. I'll deal with it. Thanks so much for watching. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you in the next video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you wanna stay up to date with my videos. Yeah. Bye guys. Mwah.